This is the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
G'day, Sean McManus here. I'm doing my first ever solo swim in this year's Rotto Swim. It's a 19.7k open water swim from Cop Beach to Rottnest Island. That's, of course, if you go on a straight line. This is my road to Rottnest.
Shorty Mac, you did it!
Oh, my God, Ross.
I was I remembered halfway through the day on Saturday, and I was like, did he do it? And that's I texted you, and then I saw the photo everyone's talking about. If they haven't seen it, can you just quickly describe the photo everyone's talking about?
Oh, there was a photo taken me of once I'd finished, I'd taken my swimming cap off, and it was my head. It was just a headshot.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was unrecognisable. It was me, but probably as a 70-year-old man, my head was fatter than ever.
It was a little bit swollen. You just look a little bit exhausted, and Nat and Nath said you looked about 85. But does something happen when you're in the water for 7 hours?
Yeah, I think it's because of the salt water and the salt in general getting in your mouth and everything. Everything swells up. So yeah, you get really puffy in the head, lips, nose, everywhere. It was the salt water. Your tongue really swells up a bit too.
Yeah, you look great now, by the way. You're back to normal.
Bounce back.
We'll go into the race in a sec, but give me an idea of what it was like to finish, how you felt, what happened, what was going through your head after everything you've been through, the failed Rotto swim, months and months of training. What was it like to hit Rottnest?
Yeah, it was quite amazing because I'd set this goal a long time ago, and it was kind of one of those things that I wanted to manifest. I put it out there in the universe and said I'd love to swim to Rotto one day and I need to do this, but I never really knew what the next step would be. And the other part to that is I never really wanted to take the next step until Kynwyn, when I floated the idea with me, just added me to the group, which I said in one of the previous podcasts. So to get to the end, Ross, and stand on that sand and know all the discipline and all the things that I've left behind, like the socialising that I've missed out on, and always going to bed early, getting up on the weekends at 5 o'clock to go swimming a Friday and Saturday and Sunday, which are the only days that I would normally be able to swim, sleep in. It was all worth it. And I showed the discipline as a person to follow through. That's the other thing, and I know it'll get unrecognised probably from my family members, but I know that they'll also be inspired. The kids, more importantly, to be inspired to do something like this. The discipline and the commitment it takes behind the scenes, no one ever gets to see that, but it's every single day of the week, and that goes with physio, which I was able to get. My mate Mullo from Pure Sports Physio in Subiaco, he just rings me and goes, can I help you out in any way? And I spent time with him at the Dockers and just puts up his hand, and there's many, many more people, coaches and friends along the journey. They're there to make sure that you physically could get yourself ready to rock and roll, and as I said, physio and massages and training every single day.
Yeah,
like every single day.
Yeah, you put the work in behind the scenes. That's, as you said, the stuff people don't see. You did have a lot of questions in the lead up. Can you do it? You answered that question in your own head. How did that feel to kind of solve that you're disciplined and that you could do it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. There was, it's really interesting the mental battles you go through when you're doing something for a long period of time. So
it was 7 hours. 7 hours of swimming.
Yeah, 7 hours. But think about 7 hours of running or 7 hours of being at the gym in one session. You just
wild.
Yeah, the mentality though, you've really got to distract yourself a lot. But there was times I think from the 8K to the 11K mark, I struggled and my pace dropped back. So I had to pick it up and I didn't know if I was capable of, but all of a sudden when I got to the 11K mark, I knew that I was over the halfway line, and from here on in, everything was downhill. And from that point, I was able to swim quite well from 11 to 18Ks, and I felt good and stroke rate was better. We were going along pretty well at that stage. And then again, Ross, when I got to the 18K mark, because it was there and I was home, I was literally home, I fell off a cliff again.
Oh, no.
Because I was there. Mentally I got, you get a bit soft, I guess, in your mind, like I've done it. So I wasn't sprinting to the finish line by any means. It seemed like the last 2Ks was Never going to happen. It was quite amazing, the up and down roller coaster. But, fortunately enough, during there I was able to swim really close to a great friend, Dean Barker, who we had on the podcast, that said he was going to go to sleep when he swims over there. Remember that?
Yeah, his mental attitude is he just plows through and tries not to fall asleep mentally in his head because he's a machine robot going through the motion.
Yeah. So all those things play in your mind. You see friends in your mind. You see people I've swum with that we've got behind me. Lots of different quotes go through my head when I was swimming, just to try to keep in the moment.
I know the quotes that
time
would have
goes
gone
on.
through your head. It would have been, "Don't be a wimp," but you wouldn't have used the word wimp. You would have used something else, and just like toughen up or something like that.
Yeah, all of the above. And I come across because a lot of people say anything of value takes time. And I come across this quote the other day, which was the same thing, which is anything of value must be won through contest. It's got to be a contest. So if you're starting to do your degree, it's a battle, right? It's a battle, and all those things don't give themselves up to you easily. And certainly 20 k's of Rottnest from here to Rottnest, the ocean just doesn't give itself to you and go, right, I just swim over and you'll be done. So I kept saying to myself, this is a contest, this is a battle. So the longer I stay in it, the further advanced I'm going to be, and I'll eventually win it. And that's what happened. I got to a point where, particularly around, I'd imagine 12 k's, 13 k's, when a lot of people were saying to me, "You'll go through a dark patch." I wasn't at all, because I knew I was over I've got this.
Yep.
And that was an amazing feeling. It was. I'm actually going to do this.
Starting to really believe that it's going to happen.
The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
We spoke to, I think Kindwin mentioned that she would break it down because 7 hours. I couldn't imagine standing there knowing I have 7 hours of suffering in front of me. She would say she breaks things down to 30 minutes at a time. We're just going to make that next 30 minutes and next 30 minutes to smaller steps. Did you find yourself doing anything like that?
Yeah, constantly. Yep, 30 minutes to a fuel stop. So she was really keen. She really looked forward to her next time she stopped for fuel. Whether it was a drink or towards the end a flat Coke is what she likes to have to just fuel her over the line. Mm-hmm. Mine was obviously to stop, full stop. Half an hour and I can stop just for a second. That was a big thing in my mind. So I was concentrating on that 30 minutes, and then I guess after the halfway mark, I was in 30 minutes time. I might have swam another K.5. So that takes me to 13. And if I do that once more time, that takes me to 14.5. I do it once more time, and I'm at 16 k's. I'm home here.
Yeah.
That's what was going through my mind. As much as I was looking ahead, and then I'd bring myself straight back, stay narrow focus, and just stay in the moment.
And talk to us about our man who we had on the podcast, Justin. We're really getting behind him and his cause and his motivation. How did he go?
Justin finished in under 10 hours. He did an amazing effort. The crowd went bananas, and
awesome.
the amount of people that were there to support him was extraordinary. And I take my hat off to him and all the stuff that he's been through. And as he said on our podcast, Ross, that when he's told people that he was going to swim solo to Rottnest, everyone laughed at him.
Yeah, we did it.
You can't do it. You can't. You can't do it. And he did it, and he was amazing. I couldn't wait to hug him afterwards later on at the pub. I certainly did that.
Could he hug back?
Yeah, he was cooked.
10 hours.
It was under 10 hours. It was in the 9 hour mark.
Yep.
But he did it. He did it.
Oh, that is so awesome to hear because, hearing his story, you just really wanted him to get that done. And I'm imagining his son would have been there to see it as well. But well done to Justin. How amazing.
Yeah, it was super. I was also reminded because we also spoke to Dean Kearns, who I remember Kearnsy saying in one of the chats we had, Ross, that spare a thought for the people who, when you're in the pub celebrating, you've been there for hours and hours, they're still out there, and it takes them 10 or 11 hours. Well, there was a couple of people who finished in and around the 11-hour mark, and the hell they must have been going through mentally to be able to do that. But, I mean, however many times they stopped in the ocean, it doesn't matter. They made it.
Yeah.
They made it.
What willpower to do that for that long.
What torment they must have been going through, and how much stronger will they be as an individual to know that they've been able to achieve that?
That is epic.
incredible.
And and Dean, he was a bit of a companion along the swim for you.
Yeah, he was. Dean's now swum to Rotto about 14 times, and his wife did it for the first time, Susan. So shout out to Susan, who was able to complete it in just over 9 hours. And she had her arm in a sling when I saw her because her shoulder was ruined.
Oh, wow.
And she had some big cuts from where her bathers were. Her swimsuit was cutting into her shoulders, like down to through the skin, blood.
Yeah.
How much she pushed herself through. But for Dean swimming beside me at one stage, and he just wanted to make sure I got there. And just completely selfless human being to go, I'm going to make sure you get there and have a companion by you. Also, my two of my sons jumped in and swam next to me.
That's awesome.
I can't thank, I certainly can't thank Dean enough for his support and just having a chat too along the journey. And all the people we had in here for those podcasts, Ross, it was so amazing to hear their stories, and Kynwyn and Dean Kearns and Dean Barker and Justin's story. It was so good to chat to along the way.
Yeah. Well, it's just great to see all the journey each individual, but also you guys as a community to get behind each other and help on it. I mean, Dean was swimming beside you.
Yeah.
Like that type of community would just would lift you.
Yeah, I think the whole way through. So I was able to swim with a whole bunch of people throughout this, and God, they were so lovely all the time. And the other thing is that no one's this super duper athlete. You know, they're not professionals. They're mums and dads. They're brothers and sisters who are just going, I am not accepting that I'm just going to meander through life. I want to test myself, and I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable position to see if I can grow from it. And all these people have, and spurring each other on. I got so many messages from teammates along the way, and it's so lovely. It's so lovely, yeah. I enjoyed every bit of that part.
And what an amazing effort by everybody who just had to go, at saying, yes, I'll do it, and did all the training. And, had a crack at it. And as we said, up to 10 hours of that kind of thing. You mentioned a lot of names, but is there anyone else you wanted to thank?
Oh, definitely. I had two friends who paddled for me on both journeys, which is the road to Rotto and also the Port to Parb. My mate Pete and my mate Dennis, Dennis flew in from Melbourne for both attempts, 3 weeks apart. He just came in and do it. And Pete was there from the get-go. Those guys were unbelievable. To have their support the whole way through was so super. Earlier on, when I was getting my training, my stroke was really poor, and a guy called Paul Newscombe, he's a super duper swim coach, and he really helped me out with my stroke. And there's some amazing people I met through him that I was able to swim with, and Sally and Susie and Andrew, just to name a few, were just lovely people, and send me messages and see me at the shops and wish me all the best. They're better swimmers than me. They just turn up day in, day out and get it done. But they were so genuine. That's the other word, Ross. Every other day when I got to swim too, a big fella Marcus and Shelley, who were teammates of mine, they were always in my lane, and we spent a lot of time together swimming in particular. But I mentioned Kynwyn, and Zach as her offsider, who's an amazing human being with a lot of energy. But what do you say about Kynwyn Roberts? She put together the Port to Pub. She got this whole community of people together, and she's all about everybody challenge. She's about challenging yourself as a person and seeing what you got, and genuinely, and she knows this. You know, if you put the work into it, you're going to come out on top, and we're able to get through this.
And you did. Road to Rotto, Shawnee, you did it, and you did it with a hell of a lot of support behind you. And I think everyone in that community who also did it as well are super proud of you and the rest of the people that did it. So well done, Shawnee. Well
Good
done.
on you, right? Hey, Ross, how did you go?
Not swimming?
No, I know, but over the journey, we got to do a lot of podcasts together and speak to some great people. Did it get your blood pumping?
It did a bit, yeah. I really enjoyed the community of it mainly. As we just said, the people that get behind each other, and they're all in the same boat, and it seemed like a really genuine community. And it did kind of get me thinking, you know what? Like talking to Dean, it made me think having someone like that on your side would make you start to believe you can do it. And seeing you do it does make me want to do it. Am I going to? I'm not going to put it out to Kindwin yet because I don't want her to just throw that in a text message. Oh, welcome Ross to the team. So baby steps, but it definitely showed me that you put your mind to something and have the right people around you, like the community that is around this, you can do it. So it was awesome to see you do it, Shawnee.
Yeah, and I think the other note to that is the self-confidence you get from being able to stick to something is enormous, and a lot of us don't do that, whether it's a diet, going to the gym, process during work. But, I certainly feel that I'm a better human being, a better person, being able to get through this over the 6 months journey and know that commitment and discipline and work rate, anything's achievable.
We always love you, and we're also proud of you doing this, Shawnee.
Good on you, Ross. Love your work. Thank you, mate.
Postscript, Shawnee, you've got some notes. We needed to add some stuff in.
Yeah, well, I wanted to thank some people, Ross, which you asked me about yesterday, but there's a number of people who got behind me in the swim. Firstly, when I went to attempt the Roto swim, a mate of mine, John Jones, he's from Access Hire, he said, do you want to use the boat? Yeah, we'll skip you. We'll get you over there. Not a problem in the world. So thanks to those guys at Access Hire. And Chris Bond, who was skippering, and Jamie Murillo, who are former teammates of mine, took in terms of skippering with Jason Norrish and Spider Burton helping out and making sure I was fed throughout the day. So I really appreciate those guys. Actually, Spider Burton rang me up and said, do you have a team of people who are going to help you on the day? Because I think we should be there for you. So that's really nice of them to do that at the time. So I really appreciate that. Pure Sports Physio, my mate Mullo, who put his hand up to help me out and look after me physically. We had the Broome Beach Club, who sent us some stuff to wear. A friend Coxie, who 2 years ago, he drove down from Broome to Lake Argyle to help us swim. A bunch of us guys, Lake Argyle, which is a 20k swim. We did it in a team's effort.
Yeah.
He drove 1,200 Ks just to come down and help us out.
Wow. That's a long drive.
Yeah, that's amazing. We also had, of course, my family and friends. I think I've already mentioned.
Skip over that.
Yeah. But Pete and Dennis, who were my paddlers throughout the time, who were so strong, and my boys who jumped in and had a swim with me through the day, that was fantastic. I had Paul from Swim in Common, Paul Newscombe, who was a swimming coach. He's really helped me out with my technique, and he was a great person to be able to chat to about swimming open water in particular and different techniques that you need to do to make sure that you can get your swimming up to a high level. But clearly the number one person was Kindwin.
Coach Kindwin.
Coach Kindwin. You would have heard her on our podcast. She was absolutely fantastic the whole way through. Zach was her offside, and he's just a ray of sunshine himself. He's such a positive human being to be around. But Kindy, to be able to have the Port to Pub come to life as she always imagined over the weekend. So many people competed and had an awesome time. And the community of people she put together because of her being her. I love those types of people who can do that and have an impact on people's lives. So Coach Kindwin and the Positive Swim Squad, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
And thank you, Sean McManus, for doing it.
Good on you, Ross. Cheers, mate.
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.